So this week you're looking at doing some little models of people, but also photography, because you're looking at the artist Slinkachu. You'll have these slides and you'll see that Slinkachu will have a range of these small people that they make, but then they photograph them amongst larger than life everyday objects like the orange peel or the tennis ball or the weed in the garden. So very ordinary things. You're going to have to do this in the classroom, so you're going to have to be really resourceful and link it to things that you can find around you. So first thing you want to do is to start to think which of the sports people are you going to use. So spend about 10 or 15 minutes just finding your artists, your sports people. You might just have time to do one, you might have a time to do 2, 3 or 4, but you will work throughout the lesson and we'll be able to see if you've worked hard and used your time. So for me, I looked here and thought, I'd really like to do maybe a basketballer like Michael Jordan, swimmer Simone Manuel here. It's really inspiring. Just love this pose of her cutting through the water as she's swimming. Or maybe Albert Linda, famous Kazakh weightlifter. Didn't know any rock climbers. I thought that might be quite interesting, but that's the point of this, to find out and link to new things. And I discovered this amazing woman, Anak Verveyen, who started climbing from 4 years and has done some amazing feats. So I'm going to start with Anak here and have a go at drawing a small climber. So you just need scissors, pencil, pen and scrap paper. Maybe sketch out first of all, and think about how you're going to make this person interact with everyday objects. So for me, I thought maybe you've got some books in your bag. You could perhaps make this into something that they could climb up. So I'm going to just adjust this a little bit, and then I'm going to start drawing. How could she... It's important to think how you're going to photograph it, because it'll affect how you perhaps draw your person. How would they reach out and interact with the thing that you're going to put them on to photograph? So sketch out your person. I'm doing this quite dark because I want you to see what I'm doing. But, like I just made a mistake here, it's always best to sketch it first in case you need to rub things out. I'm going to do a little study here of how she might be grabbing onto those objects. So you can spend a good 15 or 20 minutes really drawing this well. I'm just going to do a quick sketch. You might want to work into it with a pen after you're confident with what you've done and start defining it. Do the hair coming down here. So cutting into it, making the anatomy more in proportion. See, she's a sports person here, so you're going to have muscles defined more perhaps in the legs. So just sketch it out roughly first, and then when you're confident that you've got it more or less in the right place, but don't rub the marks out, just correct them and then rub them out afterwards if you need to, because if you leave them there, you'll be able to visually look, well, that doesn't look quite right, and adjust it. So this arm to me looks a bit long. I'm going to bring it in a little bit here. So yeah, leaving your marks that are not quite right there and just working in. And then if you need be, I'm going to cut that off anyway, so it doesn't matter, but you can rub them out afterwards. That arm looks at a bit of a peculiar angle, but it's because I'm going to actually bend it, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so I've quickly done that. I'm now going to cut it out. Go into detail later. If you're watching this on your personal computer, you can fast forward a few minutes if you want. I'm going to get this cut out. Okay, now I've got the rough bits. You might need to practice it a couple of times till you're happy with it, because obviously you're going to bend this as well, so it's not going to just stay a flat drawing. So you might do it and then think, well, actually, it looked better if I actually exaggerated the size of the legs or the arms, for example, so that it looks better when you make it a bit 3D. In future lessons, you might have time to start making these out of clay and plasticine, all sorts. So I'm fairly happy with that. I'm going to take it over here onto my rocks, and I'm going to start thinking about how I would make this interact as she's grabbing on and trying to climb up this rocky surface. Okay, so I've got my rock climber. Let's move that camera. Climbing up the rocks. I'm also going to have a go at doing maybe this weight trainer there. So again, back to the drawing board. If you're finding it hard for a certain pose, a good bit of advice is to actually just draw things as stick people to begin with, and then almost like a skeleton. So just drawing the real basics, keeping it quite geometric when you begin. I'm going to leave the weights off actually, because it will just be him that I cut out. I'm going to draw them on so I know where his arms would go. So yeah, just kind of like even doing a line to think where the middle of the picture would be, where his head would fit if he was getting himself perfectly balanced, ready to pick up these weights. And keep working over the drawing. Don't finish one area. Try maybe to work from side to side so you can make it symmetrical if you're doing something like this where somebody's in a symmetrical pose. So he's squatting down, potential energy there, just about to be, exert himself as he picks it up. So I really want to exaggerate the shapes of muscles. It's kind of very blocky at the moment. I'm going to again work back into this now with my pen, just to give it a bit more detail and define it the way I think it should be. So it's a picture of Albert Linder as he's competing in the Olympic Games, getting ready to lift that weight. You can spend a bit of time and draw the national uniform in there. Remember, try to make his muscles really pronounced because he's professional. So he's going to look really fit. Some biceps there. Okay, so I think that'll be a helpful little technique for you if you're not used to drawing people. Do a stick figure first and then start building in the muscle, and keep working over it, keep working into it and correcting what you've done until you're happy with it. See, I'm looking back at the head and I think it's a bit too rounded. Sometimes leaving things and giving yourself the chance to go back and correct them. Shade that in actually. Yeah, like giving yourself a bit of time, a bit of breather to work on another part of the body, and then come back when you've given yourself a chance to have a bit of a gap and reevaluate what you've done. Is sometimes a really useful thing to do. Now, I want this guy, he's going to stand up. He's not going to be climbing up the rocks like Anak was doing. So I need to think about how I'm going to make him stand up as well. So let me just cut out the upper body first of all, and then I'll show you what I mean. Spend a bit more time than me and cut it really nicely, please. I'm just doing a quick demo so you can get started. Now he's going to have to hold on to that. So I'm actually going to cut a bit more so I can fold it over the weights. Okay, a bit there, and then come over here, so that's going to leave a bit more. fold over and then come up around the edge of the silhouette of the body. Okay, now I need to find a way to make him stand up. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to leave a gap down the bottom like that. Lots of different ways of doing this, and you can explore and experiment and find your own way that works well for you. I want this bit cut out, so I'm going to just pinch it and then just cut into that to get rid of that area. These will look better maybe if you put colour into them and a bit more detail, but I'm just going to get you started on the paper silhouette. Okay, I'm fairly happy with that. Now I want him to stand up, so what I'm going to do is slice it and fold one bit away and bring one bit forward. Okay, and I'm going to bend these over. Now I need to find something that he will be holding on to for the weights, and it needs to be everyday item. So I'm actually just going to get like, maybe you can see that better on white. I'm going to get just 2 balls of thread that you can find in the art room, or find something else at home for whatever sports person you're doing. And then I need to think of a way he's going to crouch down. So I'm going to bend his knees, bend his waist. He's going to get low down to the ground. Now let's think. I need to have his arms going over, grab onto the bar. And there you go. There's my weight trainer as well. So I've got a climber and a weight trainer. Basketballer. This is going to be fun. So I need to find something to make a net. Maybe I could use the circle of the scissors and lay it on top of, you know, an object to make a net. So this is why it's important to think what you're using first. I'm going to have to make this one very small. So, excuse me, Albert, let's come down here for a minute. I'm going to go straight in with pen with this one, because I've done a few drawings of Jordan, so I think I can get this going quite quickly. So I'm going to draw the ball there. He's going to do a slam dunk. So he's reaching up. Okay, a little fast forward here to cut out some mistakes, which will happen, but that's part of the just experimenting. So here's my climber in Slinkachu style. Here's my weightlifter. Here's my basketballer, obviously Jordan there. And then part of the reason I had to stop the video was because I'd used my scissors and I needed to have one more person. So the last person was a swimmer. This was quite complicated. I challenged myself to make it really small and had to leave some kind of little bits on to keep her afloat there. But this is Simone, the famous Olympic swimmer. And we just put her in the water there. And there you go, my Slinkachu inspired swimmer. So have fun. Look forward to see what you do.